This court is again in session.
Please be seated. We are back on the record in case number DV10-01877, McDowell versus McDowell. The record will reflect that counsel and the parties are present in court. Sir, I remind you that you are under oath. Go ahead.
Mr. McDowell, would you turn to Plaintiff's Exhibit B?
And just for planning purposes, counsel, we are going to be recessing about 4:45. I have to call Judge Hardy to get approval for any type of overtime, so we need to get people out of here.
I'm already not focusing, but I'm already thinking about dinner, so it's not
That might have been a damning admission, Ms. Lee.
And it is tomorrow at 9:30 again?
What do you think, counsel? We can start at 9.
I mean, 9:30 helps me in terms of my normal morning routine, but if you think it's very experienced, I'll readjust.
9:30 is fine then. All right.
Would you turn to the final page of Exhibit B? Do you recognize this?
Yes.
What is it?
It is a email from Tonya to me.
And the second to last paragraph from the bottom, not the bottom paragraph, but the second to last.
I'm sorry, you said B?
B as in boy. The last page of Exhibit B as in boy.
Oh, thank you.
Would you read the next to the last paragraph?
Any money from the program, which is hardly anything right at this moment, you had to go and freak out what few kids I have, which, thanks. Wow, yes, now at this time I am pissed. I am right in a Medicaid audit, and you are determined, and I mean determined, to go to war with me.
Okay. And that was an email that you recall receiving from Tonya McDowell?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Would you turn to Plaintiff's Exhibit I apologize, Your Honor. For some reason, I'm just not seeing well at this moment. One second. Exhibit Y. And if you turn to the second page of this exhibit, what is this?
It is a Western Conference of Teamsters Pension Trust non-verified benefit statement.
And to your knowledge, are you vested in this pension at this time?
No.
How long have you been with UPS?
4 years.
Would you please turn to Exhibit M?
Defendant's first supplemental response.
Yes, and would you turn to page 4 of that exhibit?
It is a Rivendell Independent Living profit and loss statement for 2010.
Now, prior to seeing documents produced in this case, did you ever see any records like this for Rivendell?
No.
Did you ever ask to?
Yes.
And what was the response?
If I could trust you, I would let you.
And do you have any idea why that was her response on all these occasions?
No.
Do you have any idea
Look at that.
Would you please turn to page 6 of this exhibit? Page 6 at the bottom of the written by hand.
Uh-huh. I'm there.
If you look at the, do you see how there are numbered lines like 2041, 2040? If you look at numbered line 3006 where it says investments under equity, do you see that?
Uh-huh.
And do you see that figure there?
Yes.
Do you have any knowledge or idea what that is from?
No.
If you turn to the next page, page 7, if you look at the top, where it says health services, H2012, 2014, 2017, do you have any knowledge what that is?
That would be billable income from Medicaid, probably.
And do you base that on your prior experience with the McDowell Youth Homes?
I'm basing that off of, it says income, and it says health services, and that's part of what Rivendell provides.
Okay. And if you go down the page and look at line 8540, it's towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
There's a figure for staff development of $19,270.97. Based on what you know about running group homes, do you have any idea what that would be for?
No.
Are you aware personally of any advertising that Rivendell does aside from their website?
No.
And line 7541, professional fees. Do you know what that would be for?
Staff?
Would you please turn to page 11 of this exhibit?
I'm there.
Again, at the top of the page, health services. Would you surmise that that is Medicaid related?
Yeah.
And what about rent income? Do you know what that would be?
No, I don't. Nope.
And line 8540, staff development, $35,806. Again, do you know what that would be for?
No, I don't.
If you had been privy to these statements, do you think these are Are these questions that you might have asked Mrs. McDowell?
Definitely.
When you were involved in helping to run the McDowell Youth Homes, as part of your job there, would you see QuickBooks statements and things like this?
Yeah.
And so you have a familiarity with how they work and what?
Yes, I'm familiar with profit and loss statements.
Okay. Now, if you look at page 12, line 8710, where it says rent,
Yes.
would you understand that to be, what would you understand that to be?
It would be rent for the actual group homes, the facilities.
So for instance, in this case, it could be for Crown Canyon, for Park Place.
Correct.
Or for whatever. And then yet, yet the rent income, which we already went over, line page 11, under income, that is not something you're familiar with in your
That's it.
experience running group homes.
Nope.
And if you look at page 14, it appears in that year, line 8540, staff development was $132.13. Do you recall there being such a thing as staff development when you had the group homes? Do you know what that might have been used for?
Staff development would be if there were a required level of service that we're contracted to provide, or that I was currently providing, and I had select staff that I would be willing to pay to go get educated. Like, say, a social worker only needed 6 months of ECUs or something, continuing education. That if the organization was willing to spend that to retain the staff. But that's pretty unusual stuff.
So that would be the category that you would put that into?
Yeah.
Now in 2008, on still page 14, to your knowledge, was there any group home that was not in Northern Nevada, being operated by Rivendell?
No.
And there is $4,983.75 in airfare. That would be on line 8310. Well, actually, the category 8310, and right below that, airfare lodging. Were there any group, yet to your knowledge, there were no group homes outside of this area at that time, correct?
No.
Now on this on this page 14, unlike the one on page 11, there does not appear to be a category for rental income. Is that correct? Rent on page 11, near the top,
I don't see a rental income.
it's $70,589 in rental income.
Nora, I don't want to object, but it is at the top of this page. You guys may not see it.
Where?
It's
Oh, I see it, 27,000?
27,899.
Thank you for the clarification.
Would you please look, Mr. McDowell, at this defendant's exhibit book, exhibit number 6. I apologize, exhibit number 7.
Yes.
And would you turn to what is marked in the bottom right-hand corner? The first page says page 2 in the bottom right-hand corner. If you turn that, the next page says page 1. And what do you see to be the total income from health services at the top of the page?
$308,199.25.
Does that appear to be the same as, if not, well, strike that. Let's go down to total income. What is that figure?
$376,836.13.
Does that appear to be the same as? How does that compare to the ones that we just looked at for prior years in the other exhibit book? Strike that.
Better. It's higher.
Higher. So, in reviewing these records, do you believe that this business appears to be suffering?
No.
When you were operating the McDowell Youth Homes, did you ever spend substantial amounts of company money on facilities with no clients?
Never.
In your opinion, would that have been proper?
No.
Did you have any knowledge that Ms. McDowell intended to have this property for a period of time with no clients on it?
No.
What is your understanding of how long she had that property with no clients on it?
I did not have an understanding.
Would you please look at Defendant's Exhibit 15?
That's my exhibit 15, right?
Yes.
Got it.
Do you know what this is?
Yes.
What?
It is a purpose of cash out statement.
What is it in association with?
Believe it is the first loan. First mortgage.
What does it purport to say?
Difficult to read for me, but I'll try. The purpose of cash out is to restore any credit issues and to further the credit rating of the borrower and co-borrower.
And this is not in reference to the loan in August 2007?
No.
correct? Which loan is this in reference to?
The original loan, the original mortgage taken for, I believe it was $80,000 in 2005, and that was to pay off her repossessed cars, basically all past debt for both of us.
Are you seeking reimbursement of that
No.
loan?
Nope.
would you look at what has been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit L, please?
Okay. A Montgomery law firm. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. Do you recognize this?
Yeah.
And what is this?
This is a response to, I believe, a subpoena that we issued regarding the property in Washington.
Actually,
Okay.
I don't want to influence his response. I'll tell the court it was provided voluntarily without a subpoena upon request from the company. And who do you know Montgomery Law Firm to be?
The folks that own or manage the property, the ranch.
In Washington.
Yeah, in Washington.
And actually strike that, Your Honor. I already went over that. So I was right. There was a question. Would you turn to Plaintiff's Exhibit C, please?
Say C, I'm very sorry.
C is in cat.
I'm there.
Okay, thank you. What is the status of the 95 Geo Prism?
It's been totaled.
How did that occur?
It was crashed.
By whom?
My son, Brendan, my stepson.
And were there any insurance proceeds received for that?
No. Did you want me to go to C?
Yes, you are in C. Just stay there for a minute. Would you turn to page 7 of this exhibit?
Business income and expense schedule.
Correct. Under line 5, car and truck, $2,215. Are you aware of the business having any vehicles?
No, other than what I heard today in testimony.
And that is $2,215 per month. I don't have a question for you right now. You can just wait a second. You turn to page 18 of this exhibit C.
I'm there.
Does it appear to you that every single figure entered on page 18 is the same as every single figure entered on page 7?
Identical.
In your experience in working in group homes, would you ever typically have identical expenses in separate months?
Fixed expenses maybe, but not overall expenses, no.
And if you look at the third financial declaration filed in this case by defendant, which starts at page 21, may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
I just want to make sure that what I'm seeing isn't an error, an aberration in my book only.
It's 21.
You just lift it up here a little bit so I can see.
Sorry.
That's fine, thank you. Does that financial declaration even have a business income and expense schedule attached to it?
No.
Mr. McDowell, what relief are you asking for from this court?
I am asking for half of the obligation of the $103,000 loan that was taken exclusively, expressly to start a business together. I want relief for that. I would also like relief for the balance of the rent that was agreed to be paid for using my home as a female group home for 2 years. It was agreed that I would get $1,950 a month for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath female group home, which is below the rate that she was paying for the other group homes by almost $1,000 a month. Only interest was paid on the loan. So I only got $1,350 a month when the agreement was $1,950, and I would like to get relief for half of the $103,000 loan that got taken out.
And that's something you already just said a couple moments ago.
Yeah.
So the 103, you're talking about the amount that we showed that was dispersed out of escrow on, I believe, August 29th of 2000.
Yes.
So the prior amount you're not seeking.
Nope.
And you are seeking only half of
Yes.
103. Why are you seeking, what is your reason for seeking half instead of all?
She gets the business. That's what the loan was for.
No. Okay. But my question is,
She gets an ongoing source of income.
could you let me
I'm sorry.
question and listen carefully? Why are you not asking for all 103,000? Why are you willing to only accept half?
We were married.
So you're considering it a community debt.
Yeah.
And yet you are staying in the house. However, do you believe the house is generating money?
No, the house is losing a lot of money.
Is Rivendell generating money?
Yes, it is.
What do you base that belief on?
The statements, her own business statements, public documents, advertisements.
Are you seeking legal fees?
Yes.
And what is your request with regard to your pension?
I don't have one that I know of. If I get fired tomorrow or I quit, I don't have a pension, so
If your pension were vested, the paperwork did state it is not vested at this time. If it were vested, well, strike that. Are you seeking any funds for damages done to the Park Place property?
I would take that. That is what the. That is why the rent is $1,950, even though the mortgage is $1,350, because that's what happens when you turn a residential home into a group home for 5 handicapped, low-functioning adult women that come with their own, cats. Each of them have their own cats. 2 years of that, and that's why the rent is higher. Very difficult to rent a home to a homeowner and say, would you mind if I, rented this beautiful home for $1,200 a month? Well, who's going to be living here? 6 developmentally disabled women with cats. Oh, no. The rents are different for that. That's not the same.
In answer to my question, are you seeking, over and above what you have already said you are asking the court for,
Nope.
reimbursement of damages?
No, because that's what the rents would be for.
And I believe you are stating that that is because the rent was set at $1,950.
Yes.
Did you receive $1,950 for the term of the...
Only the first 3 months.
And after that, it dropped to what?
$1,350.
Why?
Actually, $1,300. I'm sorry.
So...
Because I wasn't going to get paid for doing nothing. Quote.
Is that your statement? Are you
Oh,
quoting
no,
it?
that's the quote I was told.
Did you ask? Did you have any knowledge prior to receiving a check for less than $1,950 that the rent was going to be reduced from $1,950
No.
to $1,350?
No, I did not.
And to the best of your recollection, you received $1,950 for how many months?
The first 3 months.
Excuse me. When you got a check for $1,350, did you ask Mrs. McDowell why?
Yes.
And what was her response?
She would not pay for something that was not earned. For someone doing nothing. Money for nothing.
Did you have any understanding what she meant by that?
Kind of. Meaning, I'm not to her it was profit for doing nothing. It was more than the interest on the loan.
And so, what you just described a minute ago about the lease was higher because it's a group home, and a group home is going to sustain damage. Are you saying that that apparently then became a non-agreement?
That's right.
And do you have any knowledge of whether on prior group homes, Ms. McDowell has ever been able to arbitrarily drop the rent by $600?
Never.
And in your knowledge, and when you rent group homes, would you ever just drop the rent?
Never.
Without a written agreement with the landlord?
Never. May I answer a little more than that?
No, there's
You answered. In the prior, in your dealings in doing group homes, did you have written leases with the landlords for the
Always.
And was it common, because of the nature that the nature of how the property would be used? Is it common that the rents are different than what they would be for average people?
Very.
And is it common that the rental terms are different than what they might be in an average rental agreement?
Yes.
How so?
We'll give you a concrete example. Crown Canyon rents for $1,200 a month. She's paying $2,600 a month. The lease is virtually month to month.
Your Honor, I'm going to read just Jackie's response in terms of that Crown Canyon would rent for $1,200 per month for lack of personal knowledge. I don't know where he's basing those numbers.
Facebook.
Sustained. That answer is stricken.
I have nothing further from my client at this time.
All right. Do you want to start for 10 minutes, or do you want to call it a day, Ms. Lena?
I would prefer to just start in the morning so that it's succinct and it's not split, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. That's why I gave you the choice. All right, we'll stand in recess until 9:30 tomorrow morning.